Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Staveley. I'm in the commentary box up by the paddock. A rather hot and humid commentary box, I have to say, today. And next to me is Marcus Pye, and we are going to share the commentary. And we hope that the weather will stay at least as it is. I mean, it's been pleasant all morning, sunshine all morning, and so welcome to the Vintage Sports Car Club's Wiscombe Park Hillclimb, where we have been coming for around 40 years now. And I worked out this morning that I've driven 24,000 miles coming here and going home again. So that's a lot of miles, isn't it? I think the club owe me a car, don't you, Marcus?
Well, why not?
Yes.
Well, if you don't ask, you don't get.
A company car. They'd probably give me an Austin 7, wouldn't they? And then that would ensure I'd never get here.
Well, you'd be a long time getting back.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's great to be back here at Wiscombe Park. I've been coming here since the 1970s, where I used to come to report the RSC National Hill Climb Championship rounds. But for me, the club events are really the heart of speed hill climbs, and you couldn't wish for a finer venue than Wiscombe. Competed here back in the 80s into the 90s, and it's always been an incredibly challenging hill. And no matter what you're in, and of course, when you're doing speed events, you're competing against yourself, against your best times at events, your personal best. And if you go home with a personal best and your car's still looking as immaculate as it did when it turned up in the morning, then that sounds like a win to most people.
Yes, indeed. Many exciting times in the past. I mean, we were reminiscing earlier about the time that we had a whole field of ERAs here. And unfortunately, it poured with rain all day. So everybody got soaked, but most of the ERAs that were running turned up here and competed. And I think Stephen Curtis had a slight mishap, but other than that, everybody managed to stay on the extremely wet tarmac, and it was literally like a river running down the course.
Yeah, I think David Morris was very much involved in pulling those that set of ERAs together. We had another set recently, didn't we, at the Vintage Sports Car Club
Spring Start
at Silverstone.
Yeah. Unfortunately, of course, today we have no ERAs because, of course, it clashes with the Monaco Historique. And if they haven't gone there, like the Bugattis, they've gone off to the last classes will be the racing cars, which usually are the fastest classes. I'm not absolutely sure that that will be the case today, though, Marcus.
No, that's right. It's this morning, but Ian Baxter, who might have been regarded as pre-event favourite, he's only put one practice run in. No obligation to do more than one, but since there might have been an issue there. But the good thing is you're still here, and I hope that we're going to see that car running later this afternoon. A very quick Alta, built in Tolworth in Surrey by Geoffrey Taylor. Built for Philip Jucker to compete in the 1930s.
And it must, of course, as we said, be the favourite for this event if it's on song. Another former winner, of course, is the Frazer Nash Norris Special, which is basically Frazer Nash chassis with a Alvis Speed 25 engine. Fairly highly tuned.
I remember seeing Guy Smith in that when I was a lad. Not the Guy Smith who won Le Mans for Bentley.
No. Not the Guy Smith who, very temporarily, wasn't he the Stig on Top Gear?
if you say so.
But, oh, well, it was always supposed to be secret,
You might have to shoot me.
Yes. But, yes, Guy Smith was very successful with it. And then, of course, James Baxter, and more recently Julian Grimwade, who had it for a number of years, and now Robin Harcourt Smith has got the car, and he is getting used to it. He's only started competing with it this season.
Yeah, fairly fearsome beast to be getting to terms with.
Yeah, and I think it perhaps needs a different way of driving to other cars that you may have driven in. That it's a very torquey thing, and you don't need to be changing gear and using lots of revs, but it's a different technique to driving a car with a revvy smaller engine.
Yeah, that's right. It's, because you only come to a hill climb sort of venue maybe once a year, it takes even the very top hill climbers who are doing it most weekends of the season a long time to get to terms individual. So there's number one away, and that is Vicky Sly with the red Austin 7 Ulster replica. Vicky did a 71.75 this morning, and is making her way up towards the gate. That's the open part of the hill, and you go up through this little twisty section up to the hairpin and saw bench. Should be rounding saw bench any moment. Engines and bluebells, it's absolutely beautiful up there. She's understeered wide at the hairpin, but kept momentum up, which is good, and is up the top straight now towards Martini, which is the hairpin at the top of the hill. Another car away, that is number 2.
Nick Coates. Now, his is described as an Austin 7 EA. Now, an EA is the correct terminology for an Ulster. So, all those that are actually called Ulsters really should be called EAs.
I thought that it was for East Anglia, where you're from.
Ah, yes. Yes. There used to be lots of Austin 7s in East Anglia when I was at college. You could buy them for £5.
that is Peter Howard with another of the little Austins, making good ground.
Yes, we're fortunate that we can actually see most of the course today because we've got a screen with a number of views. I think there's 6 views, aren't there?
Yeah, something like that.
And we can see areas of the course that in the past, when I've commentated here before, we've never been able to see.
And yeah, Harry Hoskins looks like his 64.46 is the quickest so far in these competition runs. His slate is quite clean after practice. He's done 89.93.
And Peter Howard, 66.52.
66.52 then for Peter Howard, and that's a good improvement on the 69.32 that Peter Howard did this morning in practice. It doesn't count for anything, it's just a sighting run.
And now we're on to the next class, which is standard modified sports cars and saloon cars, 751 to 1100 cc unsupercharged, or up to 750 supercharged. But I can't see, looking through the entry, that there are. Oh yes, there's one supercharged. There's a supercharged Ulster, which is Charles Ping.
Yeah, Brian Galbraith in number 10's gone up, meanwhile. And I have to flick through my sheets of paper here because they all have a bizarre order. up with Mike Dowell driving it. So we move into the next class. With these Frazer Nashes, and it was here that some great times posted this morning.
Yeah, 68.24 for the first one,
Yep.
which was a
Samik Mukherjee.
yeah, a Boulogne model Nash.
This is the car that did so well at Goodwood recently, with Tim Crichton driving it.
And then we've got Colin Pointer in his Lee Francis Ulster, 1496. Gives you a hint that it's a Meadows 4ED engine. Has so many Nashes, of course, had as well.
Samik Mukherjee did improve very well to break 70. Richard Baxter at 66.10. That's better than this morning. And that leads the class. But we'll get the quick qualifiers up towards the end. It's quite well seeded, the entry, so the quicker competitors tend to go towards the end of the class.
And we should have a change. Everything else in the class, apart from Lee Francis and Riley Sprite, are all Frazer Nashes. But so we've had the Lee Francis, but we seem to be missing David Saxell's Sprite.
Yes, he's a non-starter. I saw that earlier on. So David Saxell not running in this class. So I think we have Robin Lightwood up next. The Lee Francis I saw in the paddock. Good looking car. 22, Colin Pointer's car.
One in the back of this queue for the start is Joe Blakeney Edwards, who we'd expect to be fairly.
Joe's very quick, isn't she?
Very quick, yes.
So Robin Lightwood, 77.34. Not as quick as this morning. Now, Dominic Hall was third quickest in class in qualifying.
He's on the hill now.
Yeah, and making haste towards Shawbench hairpin, sliding the back of the car around. Dominic Hall, he's up to the top, 54.20. Not quite as quick as this morning.
Joe Blakeney Edwards very fast off the start and very fast up the straight towards the gate.
Yeah, Joe certainly doesn't hang around.
No, of course Joe is wife of club president Simon.
Tony Wood, meanwhile, a 54.60. 54.60, which is quicker than this morning. 4/10 outside Dominic Hall.
Yeah.
What's Joe Blakeney Edwards going to notch? Joe was second quickest in qualifying this morning. Same car, driven by San Archie, was quickest.
53.63. So she has gone into the lead of the class.
Yep, Joe Blakeney Edwards, so consistent. 53.37, 53.18, now this afternoon 53.63. So the four runs covered by about half a second, something like that.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive, consistent speed hill climbing. So we're not going to see Archie Waterfield in that car until it returns from the top of the hill, clearly. And so we're going to move into our next class, which is the classes 4, 5 and 6. Mark Brett with the Ballamy Ford, the Lawrence Ballamy Ford V8 Special quickest this morning, 52.92.
He seems to have jumped to Roger Thorpe's Vauxhall 3098.
Okay, so
which is on the hill now.
change of order. 30 Paul Ginnings with the Lagonda has been up. That is in class 4, and Paul Ginnings 82.74. 82.7.
Yes, spot on his handicap.
And that's the other important aspect, John, of these classes, isn't it? The handicap awards. Graham White with the Lee Francis Hyper, 65.43.
Yes, Graham, a stalwart of the club, particularly involved in trialling with Francis and organising things in the West Country.
65.43, that's a class leading time at the moment, 32 Graham White.
Yes, and then with Roger Thorpe, yeah.
74.09.
Yep.
Roger Thorpe, quickest he's managed so far.
I would expect Mark Bellamy to be faster.
Yeah, Mark Brett with the Bellamy Ford.
Sorry, yes.
He'll be very rapid. To another class in the meanwhile. Mark Brett 53.43. 53.43.
So he is streets ahead in that class, isn't he?
Yeah, did 52.92 this morning, so half a second slower.
Well, perhaps once he'd seen the others' times, he decided that there was no need to take it to the 10/10ths.
No, to take it to the limit, as they say, as the Eagles sang.
Yes.
So Mark Brett is done and dusted for his first time run. We're going to see next. Yes. Wobble through the classes, 13s and 14s that have been presented in the printer order. So 703 Jack Butler, 59.98. 59.98, not quite as quick as before, but inside a minute. So that's a super effort to lay down.
But he is 701 in the program.
705 Andrew Oliver is next, 59. Jack Butler, no, 703, 59.05 has come up now. 59.05 for Jack Butler.
And
7:05 Andrew Oliver, 59.98.
End of a batch, and Barbara Larigo in the Riley Special.
62.67.
62.67, yeah.
Big improvement for Barbara.
And
we'll see Greg take that up later on, and that'll be a contender, won't it?
We've got two moderns rushing up the hill, so that must be the end of the batch.
Yep.
And we've got to wait for the cars to come back from the top. That's right. Always a problem, isn't it, when you get a hill climb like this where there's no return road.
That's right, yeah. I remember the return road at Prescott, which was all back into the top of the paddock.
Yep.
I'm trying to think which other hills have them. A lot of them don't.
Well, Harewood goes straight into the paddock from the end of the hill.
Yes.
So there's no sort of return road as such.
You drive away from it to get to the start line, that's right.
That's right. So, of course, Shelsley, they've got to come back down the hill.
My first memory of hill climbing, Great Auckland, near Reading in the 1960s, and where Dennis Jenkinson used to escort them back on his motorcycle.
Yes.
Good old Jenks.
Yep, good old Jinx. Saw a very amusing thing at Shelsley with Jinx and Bill Body. Bill was in a road test Lancia Gamma Coupe, and Jinx came walking down the hill, and Bill wanted to show him the engine, so he lifted the bonnet up to show him the engine, and Jinx said, well, yeah, but I'm going from the left. And he walked off, and Bill Body slapped the bonnet shut and trapped his tie in it, and he couldn't reach the bonnet release, and he had to stop a passerby and said, could you come round and pull the bonnet catch for me so I can get free.
Bill Body, the king of Motorsport magazine, which is 100 years old this year. 1924 it was first published.
Yeah.
And you can see on the big screens
But in the end, it has always puzzled me the huge advantage those wheels gave Bugatti, and nobody copied them. What did it take from 1924 virtually till the 60s before anybody thought, yeah, these alloy wheels are a really good idea?
I think Cooper cast some, didn't they, for their 500s, etc. No, if it's 100 years of the Type 35, it's 95 years since William Grover Williams won that inaugural Monaco Grand Prix in 1929.
Absolutely, in the 35B.
Indeed.
Which is still exists and is virtually totally original. It's been hidden away for many, many years, and it was painted green for the occasion. I'm sorry, I took my eye off the ball. And what happened to Nick Coates with the...
Oh, he got back into the paddock. Yeah, saw the car come back up.
So he drove it.
Yeah. It's no, it's driven back up into the paddock. So that's all good. All good. And we're seeing what's coming out next. There's a bunch of cars lined up at the paddock exit. So jostling for position, going back to their paddock places.
I think the Edwardian, and there's only the one, Robert Frankham's Talbot 2550.
Yes, that Class 7 car.
Yeah.
Followed by 7 or 8 runners in Class 8, among which we're going to see David Fennell and Clive Bergman and Graham Beckett.
Graham Beckett in simplicity. Yes, the Talbot, which is now coming down to the start line, was a very sporting car in 1913. 4.5 litre, very torquey engine, and it's still fast today.
It looks absolutely fabulous, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It just looks very purposeful, and
It looks like a proper sports car.
Talbot 2550.
Now you've got one to talk about next, look, because you've been over and interviewed the man.
Ah, yes. 81 coming out with David Mitchum. He'll be second on the hill. David Mitchum with this remarkable Austin 7 Special based on 1931 parts, he was saying. I'm thinking, my mother's 1931 chassis. And still much of her is original, apart from her hips and knee and cataracts operations and things. But yes, this is the Talbot away.
Yes, very sprightly performance for a 1913 car.
It is indeed.
Probably quite a heavy car too.
I would think so. We've just got 4.5 litres of Bergman. David Fennell then in 87 leads the class. That number on the car, 87 toy.
The toy. Yes. He spread a rumour some while ago that it was called the toy because it belonged to him in Brighton, which of course was a joke.
Red herring. Kevin Morton in 88, the Riley 9 Special, has cut a 61.71, which is much better than this morning. Indeed, puts him second in class behind David Fennell, and ahead now of Clive Bergman and Graham Beckett, who are in the 62s and 63s. So it's 60.66 for Fennell, in the 61s now for Kevin Morton, 62s for Clive Bergman, and 63s for Graham Beckett.
And now we're into class 9.
Samuel Archer, meanwhile, 76.85 in car 90. That's Austin 7 Special, not as quick as the 70.71, so he lost 6 seconds over his better run this morning.
There must be a reason. Suspect something happened which we didn't see. And
103 is William Butler with the Riley Special. He kicks off class 9.
56.17.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good time.
It is, considering he did 57.36 this morning, so he's improved by more than a second over his qualifying best. And mind you, the qualifying times count for nothing other than to get you into the competition.
They do a little more than that because, of course, the handicapper looks at them.
Oh.
And the handicapper,
with a glint in his eye or her eye,
with his pen, they say,
"Oh, quick."
They
say you never win a handicap twice.
Well, they used to say that was true at Brooklands when the famous Ebby was doing the
Ebblewhite.
Yeah, doing the handicap. But
Sarah Calloway in the Riley 12 Special, 62. Tamo Voigt in 161, Riley Special, 58.72. 58.72. That is in car 161. Running out of order. 58.72. David Morley in 105, the Riley Special, 55.81. Good improvement, big improvement over this morning, and quicker than William Butler, so takes the class lead. Quickest this morning were Chris Downham in 4th, Greg Lerigo 3rd, Dr. David Pryke in 2nd, and Michael James in 1st in this class, but let's see how they fare.
Well, Downham has fallen foul of the handicapper because his handicap has been cut back from 53.5 to 52.5. So
it's a tougher target to try to beat. David Robert, 59.18 in the car 106. Now we got the 4 quickest drivers in this class this morning.
Yeah, well, Greg Lorigo's always quick.
Yes, he is, and we'll see. Chris Downham, 62.49.
Again, not as expected. 10 seconds off his revised handicap.
Suggests a bit of a moment somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah,
exploration
I think so.
of the scenery or one of the escape roads.
Oh, Greg missed a gear there.
Yes, I heard that. Just half out with straight. Didn't quite go in.
And
The second bite at the cherry, and off he went. 27. Joe Blakeney Edwards is showing as having gone up again in a 50.68. Now,
sorry, why is she
was
gone
that
up again?
now? Was that a lad? Was that a lad? It's possible, isn't it? Was that Archie in the car?
Yeah, well, they were together in the programme, but of course can't be together in the runs. Ah, we've got a stoppage on the hill.
Okay.
.68 for number 27.
I wonder. I think that quite likely was Archie.
Yeah.
And it's come up as Barbara Larigo again in the 706. The number perhaps hasn't been changed. And let's have a look. It's 706, no, 708.
708 we've already had, haven't we?
But it says Barbara Larigo on the screen, which I think is likely to have been.
50.98.
That'll be Greg, won't it? He hadn't been up yet. Which is shown as a class lead, which would make sense. Larigo 62, 67, 50.98. That'll be Greg. Larigo. Michael James 49.07. 49.07. Quite as quick as the 48.77 recorded this morning.
That's
class
the
lead.
TT Sprite replica.
Yep. Only one to go in that class, and that'll be Dr. David Pryke with the Morgan Riley 4096 cc. David Pryke 50.96 for 110. Broke 50 this morning, not this time.
Morgan with a Riley 12.4 engine, which is ex-Mauer and has always been a very quick car. It's amazing to see people sat so close to the trackside, isn't it?
Doesn't happen at Silverstone.
No. Well, no.
120 is Anthony Norton. He's trying to find where that car is in our list.
A 1250 Elvis.
120 Anthony Norton. We're going to class 10 and 11 here. Anthony Norton did a 59.14 to open the account. Better than this morning.
On the line is Paul Mullins in the MGK Special, which is a supercharged 1500 and looks like a K3, of course, K based, but a K3 originally was an 1100 supercharged car and immensely successful, you know, with a Mille Miglia and Tourist Trophy, and that's gone off very quickly indeed.
Meanwhile, 121 Glenn Burnage with the Frazer Nash TT rep, 63.26. 63.26. Second in the class, fifth this morning overall when all had run. And that dropped time on this morning's run. Roland Woodley in the Riley 15.6 special, 64.95. Nice and consistent. Did a 64.50 this morning on the 65.15, so that one bang in the middle of previous runs. That's in car number 122. 123, Paul Mullins on the hill.
He must have finished. Must be over the line.
Yeah, Paul Mullins 56.60. That's a class lead.
Yep.
And that's quicker than this morning's 57.93.
Still a second and a half on the
6.60. Chris Table with the Riley Special, the 57.24 this morning. Then we've got Theo Hunt with the Frazer Nash TT rep. Theo, who starred at the VSCC's POM. And Chris Table, 56.48 in 124. And that was a class lead by 12 hundredths of a second.
Another batch is finished.
Yep, we're going to see Theo Hunt clock a time sub 50 this morning, 49.65.
48.69.
48.69, wow. That's really impressive from young Theo Hunt.
Yes, that's inside his handicap.
So that's impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very impressive.
He's in the TED 7 team, Frazer Nash TT rep.
But of course, which is not obvious from outside, but it's a BMW 328 engine.
1971cc, yeah, which is
makes quite a lot of difference.
engine on which the subsequent Bristol was based, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, although the Bristol is quite substantially modified and certainly was made of much better materials than the BMW.
Made in unobtainium.
Unobtainium, yes.
Now we've got Harry Leston in the Morgan Rip Special. That amazing canoe of a car with the chap engine on the front. And Harry's gone up in a 53.07. 53.07. And we'll find out which of the classes he's running in. There we go. 764. 53.07. Quicker than Harry went this morning. Harry, one of the grandsons of the great Les Leston.
Yes, indeed.
Brother Ollie here as well. They're both in their later 20s. I think Ollie's 29, Harry 27, something like that. And we spoke to them this morning about this car. It's owned by Justin Mears. And it really is an interesting confection in which I think the stiffest part of the car is probably the driver.
Yes. Well, yes, a sort of fabric body over...
Well, not very much at all, actually.
I think lollipop sticks, I think.
Something like that. Yes, you need to be seriously brave to give that a go. But of course, the Leston boys have it in their genes. So
Yes.
they've taken the brave pills, courtesy of Grandad Les and Dad Nick, super racer in his own right.
It's hard to believe that well, I certainly have seen 3 generations of Lestons racing over a period of time.
That's really odd, you see. I've written for Autosport for nearly 47 years, and I'm reporting now on the grandsons of people that I watched compete in the 70s and 80s.
Absolutely. Yes. And of course, Les Leston raced an elite.
He did.
And with quite a distinctive number.
Daddy-O.
Daddy-O, yeah.
Dad 10.
And everybody called it Daddy-O.
Yeah, there was the other famous leagues around the time. There was the Graham Warner checkered flag car, wasn't it? Love One.
Love One, yeah.
Yeah. And then the Jaguars, by one and by two, the John Coombs team cars.
Numbers that moved about a bit. No one was quite as naughty as that as Ettore Bugatti, who I think liked confusing the licensing authorities, and he just moved number plates from one car to another because it was convenient. And so if one car was raced at Monaco, you find a car at another race with the same number, and it's not the same car.
Someone said to me once that there were two TOC 258 Morgans because they were racing it simultaneously at sort of different events.
Yes.
Might be apocryphal, but I think they knew rather better. There's the RIP special. Harry Leston give it to his brother Ollie in a moment.
And a Bentley bringing up the rear? Or is it a Rolls? No, it is a Bentley, I think. Nowadays you can buy Rolls Royces and Bentleys of that sort of age and earlier for so little money. And they're still remarkable cars. You know, they may not be up to the latest standards of Bentley, but they're certainly
good to see. I went on the Bentley Mulsanne Turbo press launch to Le Mans, which was highly entertaining.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and wound it up to its maximum speed, which was adequate, I think, according to the gentleman from Bentley.
That's what they always said, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Rolls Royce and
Power,
Bentley.
power adequate.
Power, it's adequate. You don't need to know any more than that. Because my son was a design and development engineer at Bentley, and one of the last jobs he did was on the V8 before they decided to drop it, which was a bit sad really, because it had been a remarkable engine, and at the end he was proud of the fact that they were getting over 700 brake horsepower out of it, but I'm not allowed to tell you that, of course. And it still complied with the emission regulations. That's the amazing thing. I suppose they had too many engines. They didn't need. They had the V12. Oh well, look at the Clark's enjoying himself from beetling down the hill at speed.
So we're going to be back into action very shortly with the next of our batches. Very picturesque scene here in South Devon.
car number 130, which is Trevor Hurst's. Car number 130, which is Trevor Hurst's Alvis Firefly Special, which is always beautifully presented. I've never been quite sure that a polished alloy body or part of a body was a good plan. Just seemed like more work to keep it shiny, but anyway.
We could buy a DeLorean, work for hours and hours and hours and still make it not shiny.
Yeah.
A car that couldn't escape its own shadow. Trevor Hurst in that Alvis Firefly Special 3.5 litre was 4th quickest in the class this morning.
57.16.
This morning.
Yeah.
Where does that leave him? 48.69 leads it. We've got 2 in the 56s. We've got Chris Tabor on 56, 58, Paul Mullins on 56, 57.16, therefore stands as 4th quickest. And we've got Steve Goodhue in the Riley Special, meanwhile, 131, 56, 59.63. Super improvement on this morning. 64, 61, 59. That's coming down really nicely. Ian Standing, Riley, 15.6. He's flanked on his second run this morning, got another opportunity to go up. 61.18. That is super consistent hill climbing. So he did 61.14 this morning.
For many years, Ian has been a stalwart of the Riley Brooklands. So he's trying something with a bit more power today.
Sam Ely with the Singer Junior, 8cc, has gone up in 62.31. 1 in the 61s this morning.
And Neil Thorpe leaving the line in the Singer, the Spikins Bantam Special, which he sits very high in it. He must have a very good view.
It's very, very short, isn't it? Short chassis.
Yes. And next on the line is James Burmester's MGPA, which doesn't look much like an MGPA, but it sort of looks like certainly a 30s racing car.
It does. And meanwhile, Rick Permain with the Austin has done a 58.88. 58.88, that's better than before. To get into the top 3 this morning. Down to 53, but sub 50 for John Giles with the Morgan GM, the great Salome. Peter Aspin in 142, 59.98. Good to break the minute.
And coming down the line is Gary Clare in the Granny, a 3-wheeler Morgan-based device with 4 wheels, and he is followed by the aforementioned Salome.
Yeah, James Burmester in the MG, 56.52. Good improvement. 58.7, now 56s.
You can hear the barking V-twin.
Yes, it makes a lot of thudding progress, doesn't it?
Yes.
Deep-seated thud. But it's making progress through the Swiss, past the rhododendrons and the bluebells to saw bench hairpin.
And John Josh snakes off the line with Salome. Originally, of course, it was called Salome because it had no bodywork.
Mark Elder in 146, the Austin Sports Special, 53.61, 400ths of a second quicker than Mark went this morning. Gary Clare in Granny, 52.64. 2.64 in the 53s this morning.
Well, I would expect John Giles to be
Substantially quicker than that.
class leader at the end of this.
Yeah, 2:49 second runs this morning for John Giles.
.49.32, so he goes into the lead, doesn't he?
Yeah, 49.32 then for John Giles with the Morgan GN Salome. 49.37, 49.49, 49.32. Ultra consistent.
Yeah, very
And
consistent.
that's the class lead, as you say, John. Then we've got India Walker in the Austin 7 Special. 775cc, that's an unusual capacity.
Yes.
Not sure how they've got that, but it's declared it.
Yes, they usually stick pretty religiously to their 750cc's.
62.26 for India Walker in 149. That's another good improvement. She did 65 and 63 this morning. 62.26. So she'll be happy with that.
Another Leston on the hill.
Yep. And this will be Ollie Leston, the older of the boys.
They both were re-handicapped to 50 seconds.
Okay.
And
Harry did 53.07. He's less experienced.
then on the line we've got potentially a winner here, because if the Baxter Alta is out of sorts, then Michael James in the Riley Special
Simon Calloway in 162, 52.67. Good improvement for Simon Calloway, who was fourth quickest this morning. Ollie Leston, for some reason, it's ticked the box twice, just as Harry did. 52.25. 52.25. That's quicker than before by a couple of tenths. And quicker than his brother by about 8 tenths. They get down to 50, are they, at this rate? But it's a good effort. And that's a class lead for Ollie Leston, who snatched away. There is the time for Michael James, 49.41. 49.41 for 163.
Well, that's actually not the fastest time so far, is it? I think Salome was quicker than that, wasn't it?
Salome did 49.32. What did... Let's see what... we saw Theo Hunt go up in. That was an impressive time. Theo Hunt 48.69. 48.69. He's quickest so far.
So, yeah.
Hamish Cameron Evely with the Morgan Super Sports 51.93. Why do some of these cars click the timing twice, I wonder? 51.93, that's done it as well.
Don't know. No doubt the timekeepers will have an explanation and they will know which is the right time, but
the quickest so far is the Frazer Nash.
yeah, that's a pretty remarkable
Frazer Nash
run.
BMW, yeah. Theo Hunt just gets quicker and quicker and quicker. Now we've got a stop at the moment.
And the Cotton Special, Michael James, that's 1500, but it's supercharged, and it's quite a light car. I'm surprised that the Nash is quicker than that. But of course we still potentially got some quick cars, but we don't know whether Ian Baxter is going to grace us with his presence in the Alta. But if he does, and it goes okay, I would expect him to be fastest.
So we've got one in the 48, with a couple in the 49s.
Yeah, well, the handicapper expected that Baxter would be in the 45s.
Handicapper doesn't realign handicaps upwards, only downwards.
No, I think they can realign them upwards, but it's very rare that people. It's very difficult to do that, isn't it? Because
particularly when someone is such a known quantity, a combination of car and driver.
Yeah, and of course you don't know if he's had a problem.
So there's that's the end of the batch. Final batch then to go. We are well through classes 13 and 14.
And what time are we at?
Whatever time your smartphone says, John.
I don't have a smartphone, nor do I have a watch.
I had one described as a dumb phone last night, sort of the earlier spec, sort of Nokia brick that doesn't take pictures and do streaming and things, which is an interesting one.
Yes, well, when I think back to the first one I used to have from my company I was working for at the time, it weighed about half 100 weight. It had a separate handset on a coiled
it was
cable.
about the size of a battery, wasn't it, for a car?
And it weighed about the size of a battery.
It needed to be Jeff Capes to lift it.
Yeah.
It was barely portable.
And
or was it a Motorola or something?
I don't know, but what I do know is that virtually everywhere where you were, it got no signal.
Like today on the M3 or the M25 or the A34, and they went to the moon in 1969, just to remember that. No, it's interesting. I remember my old Nokia brick, which I loved, and I just leant out of the commentary box, sort of balcony at Brands Hatch, which is several floors up, and it fell from my breast pocket, bounced on the pit lane. Didn't land on anybody on the way down, thankfully. Blew the battery pack off the back. It was not in immaculate condition anyway, so I went down, picked it up, clipped it all back together again, and lo and behold, it still worked. A bit like a Volvo, but it's with the crusher and the side lights are still on.
While doing a Powerboat Records week at Windermere, one of my colleagues managed to drop his phone into Lake Windermere, and one of our rescue divers went down and found it and brought it back up, and it didn't work, so he stuck it on the end of the jetty, and the next morning when we returned for the second day's runs, we stood on the jetty and the phone rang. And so I called the owner and said, "Your phone's ringing," and he said, "I haven't got a bloody phone." I said, "Yeah, it's ringing."
It bubbled out of a tap in Huddersfield or something.
And it worked.
Amazing.
Worked perfectly afterwards. Once it had dried out. Now my dear late wife put mine through the washing machine, or maybe I left it in my shirt pocket and it wasn't her fault, but it went through the washing machine and it did nothing at all apart from it would answer. It would ring when someone rang it, but you couldn't tell what it was doing. And you had no idea who it was ringing. And you couldn't speak to it.
I remember doing the Spa 6 hours in a Lotus Elan 26R, and my phone was kept in the car, and no, my phone was on the pit wall, and it rained, so that was pretty much the end of my phone. And the car owner's phone was inside the back, and by the end of the 6 hour race, which it finished, every single symbol, letter, number, whatever, was on the screen. It was just solid black screen. I can imagine him taking it back into the car phone warehouse on Monday and saying my phone is broken. He put it on his little diagnostic tutor and said, "Oh, Lotus Elan diff rattle. That's what's done it." And it was dead as a dodo. Now we've got some more cars coming down. So we've got 170, which is Martin Bell.
Wellesley Special.
This is utterly bizarre.
Well,
Tell us about it.
It's made out of 2 front-wheel drive BSAs.
Well, like a BSA Scout or something.
Yeah, the front-wheel drive V-twin.
Yeah.
And that's basically made out of 2 of them, missing the back ends but joined together in the middle. So you've got an engine at either end.
Driving all 4 wheels.
Driving all 4 wheels, yeah. They're all driven. And it was built like that before the war.
Well, it's very curious, but
Not very happy, but
67.44 this morning. Martin Bell seems to be popping and banging, and we've got Ian Baxter with the Alta coming down to the start, so that's good news.
oh yeah. Ahead of him is Richard Wiseman's Type 35 Bugatti, which, as we said, is celebrating its centenary this year. The Type 35, and that one's basically should be called a Type 35T because it's an unblown 2.3, which is originally was a Targa Florio car. Not that particular car, but that's what the first ones were built for.
Wait to see whether the PSA Wellesley Special has made it to the top. And
Didn't sound like it was going to.
no, it sounded very promising, did it? And they're holding the Bugatti on the line.
Mind you, with 2 independent engines, getting the timing and everything to coordinated must be fairly tricky.
Well, I don't know where it's gone, but it hasn't crossed the finish line yet, and there's a red flag's come out, so I suspect that it, yes.
They might be very happy, haven't been held on the line for a long while, and
Yeah, that's right.
Certainly Ian Baxter won't want to be held there for ages.
It's going again.
Right.
Which, whether it's going up the escape road to be turned round, yes, I think it is. It's got as far as Martini, but it's, I'm afraid, a fail for Martin Bell with the BSA. Not at all Wellesley Special. I think we could call it.
Time fail, yes. So the timekeepers recognise that it's failed.
The not at all Wellesley Special.
No.
And so that is given a yes, a 0.000. So either sensationally quick or hasn't made it, but we saw it. So the Harry Frazer in the Morris Keane Special, he was red flagged, so he'll have to have another run. And Richard Wiseman Bugatti, that also would have been flagged.
Red flagged, yes.
So next up will be Ian Baxter with the Alta 61 IS made by Geoffrey Taylor in that hotbed of race car manufacture around by Kingston, Tolworth. And Alta made pretty much all their own race cars, every component. and in later years his son built an Alta Formula Ford car.
Right.
But
Yes.
that was a rarity, I have to say. But this particular one, as I recall, raced by Philip Jucker. Period.
Have they cleared the hill now?
That's a very good point, because the two cars to be moved. Got the beautiful little Cooper coming up as well. Type 56, which is a Formula Junior type Cooper.
We've got the Norris Special on
the descent to the start.
Queue for the start after the Alta. Now, potentially, of course, the Norris Special is a very fast car, and back in the times when Guy Smith owned it, and when James Baxter drove it, and then Julian Grimwade owned it, it was a potential winner.
But it takes a lot of getting used to, as you said before, and it's early in the learning curve for its latest custodian, which is Robin Harcourt Smith.
Right.
Here comes the Bugatti.
The Bugatti's coming
Ian
back.
Baxter's been wheeled back off the start line to...
And switched his engine off, which is undoubtedly getting hot.
Yeah. Here comes the Bugatti then.
Always liked those narrow radiators on the early cars, which of course weren't big enough. By the time they added superchargers to the radiator wasn't big enough, so they had a bigger, wider radiator. But the early ones are prettier. Oh well, the Ian Baxter car started easily, and he's driven back up to the line and should be ready to go as soon as the lights change.
Yep. So assuming that the interim car, which was Harry Frazer with the Morris Keane Special, has been signalled into the top paddock and will get its first run in due course. Screeching tyres.
Lots of wheel spin off the line and tyre smoke. And he's up to the gate. Through the gate and into the twisty bit before he heads up the not very straight to the hairpin.
Does that look to be going not as quickly as it might be?
Well, I couldn't work out whether it was the actual picture, which seemed to be... No, he's getting wheel spin off there, so...
We'll soon see, because the time will appear in a minute for Ian Baxter. He's chasing 48s, isn't he? To be VTD so far. He's gone around the top with some alacrity, but it doesn't seem to be picking up on the way up. But it may, as you say, just be the camera.
Right, but the camera was sort of
juddering. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And let's see, Ian Baxter, 65, 48. So that's not on song.
Something amiss there.
One more go if they can get it sorted. Meanwhile,
we've got the...
Richard Wiseman's Bugatti is on the line.
And Alan Harrison's Cooper, Type 86, is on its way up the hill.
Yeah, the little Type 56, which is like a Formula Junior version of the of the Grand Prix cars of the Jack Brabham era. It's a little 1100cc engine there.
Yes, quite a small engine for the size of the car, isn't it?
Robin Harcourt Smith in the Frazer Nash single-seater. 51.86. 51.86.
Well,
which is currently the class lead. Things. Alan Harrison 55.86.
And then the Connaught, Spike Milligan's Connaught A7. Because for many years the VSCC Prescott Hillclimb was won by Alan Cotton with an A-type Connaught.
AL10.
AL10, yeah, that's right.
There goes the Connaught. Spike Milligan, who I first met when he was racing MGAs back in the 1970s, with the likes of Nigel Innes Kerr and contemporaries. Jack Bond, meanwhile, in the Martin Norton, 54.52. 54.52, that's better than before. And young Jack, who works with Tip Top Engineering in that car, which is the ex-Roy Hunt machine.
And I hear the scream of a Bristol engine, which is undoubtedly what's in the Frazer Nash Le Mans.
58.64 for Richard Wiseman, Bugatti, number 172. But Jack Bond going nicely, leading the class all the way down from Bolton in Lancashire, and with the Chevron race cars. Spike Milligan, 56.65. 56.65. Oh, that's a better time this morning, but back in the middle.
Simon Taylor is the next one we should have a time for.
Taylor with the amazing HWM Stovebolt Special, a car built in 1950. HWM Formula 2 car raced by Sterling Moss in period. First car that Sterling was employed to drive. Later went
52.01.
to Tom Carstens in the States after appearing in the film that drove it and crashed it in inverted commas. And his time 52.01. So that's a super time for Simon Taylor. He raced in the Ford Escort Mexico series back in the early 70s. Editor and publisher of Autosport at that sort of time.
Theodore Hunt has done a 49.33, which is pretty good.
210. 49.33. That's his second run, yes? 210.
Yeah.
Oh no, is it running at different classes? Running the same car but in different classes. Oh, he's a Le Mans rep, of course he is. Yes, he's got two cars here, like Michael James. 49.33, which is superb.
That will be the class winner, won't it?
How's he managed to do times so close together in cars built either side of the wall?
So different.
Yeah, good effort from Theo
Well,
Hunt.
effectively, of course, they've got the same engine. You know, the Bristol and the BMW are effectively the same engine.
I think one might have
but
considerably more traction than the others, but then again, that would be heavier.
But yes, but of course the pre-war car has no diff, so traction is less of a problem for it. He won't be suffering from wheel spin.
Yeah, they got it really nice and snaky coming out of the saw bench. There we've got, this is some of the highlights if you've got the streaming. The Leston Morgan Rip Special. Frazer Nash single-seater.
So the clerk of the course has gone up again. They're kind of doing
It's
it.
a very short batch, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's the last of the first runs, isn't it?
Yeah. We haven't seen the Finley, Hope, Cameron, Morgan three-wheeler, I don't think, in this session. Number 150.
No, it was here this morning.
It was here this morning. It failed on its second run.
Yeah, so it started twice.
And have we seen Matthew Eade? Yes, we have. 68.29. 68.29 for Matthew Eade. A big improvement in the 1500 HRG, but a long way off the beam in the class fight. So we've got one or two cars to have first run. So, one of the cars that was flagged, certainly that will be Harry Fraser with the number 171 Morris Keane Special. Cars now coming back at the end of what is the first of our two runs.
It's a great pity that the Sunbeam Tiger, which was entered but didn't turn up here, and it's quite a while since I can remember VJ Malia being here.
He's done a few events recently,
yeah,
with that car.
With both the Tiger and one or two other things.
I think he won the Madras Grand Prix one year in a Formula 1 Insight.
Did he?
Yeah, I think that's the old Shalavara Mayfield circuit before Hiran Gattakottai came on stream. He managed to beat a few people in Formula Fords and things, you know, impressive entry. I think the Maharaja of Gondal was there as well in his Formula 5000 Surtees.
But he used to be pretty quick, and at one time I believe he held the Edwardian record here with the 5-litre chain drive Bugatti.
Amazing, amazing. He owned R4D, didn't he, at one point, and ERA, and it was driven, I think, by John Harper drove it.
Yeah, I think they had an engine problem which I think terminated his enthusiasm for it. But of course R4D has had over the years had a rather checkered history, and again I suppose you could say the same of the Sunbeam Tiger.
So there's the Frazer Nash Le Mans rep that's currently leading the class. 49.33 for Theo Hunt. 49.33. What did Theo do in the pre-war car, the Frazer Nash TT rep? 48.69. So he was about 6/10 quicker
in the pre-war car.
In the pre-war Frazer Nash TT rep, which is a phenomenal
but
effort.
Of course it will have been, the TT rep will be much lighter.
Yes. And we've got Michael James on a 49.07 within striking distance. He's done a 48.77, did this morning in quali, and 48.77 is only 0.08 of a second outside the time that Theo Hunt has posted this afternoon. So the potential is there for a good old dust up this afternoon.
It's a new trend, this, putting the clerk down there. So presumably there's actually a clerk up here in the race control, and usually they come from here and go and close the hill and open it again.
We're going back to batch one then. I heard the paddock call. lined up now with Vicky Sly with the Austin 7 Ulster rep away to get this second set of runs underway. Her time earlier on, 72.24. Did a 71.75 in qualifying, so there's potential to
a bit to be had.
Yeah.
Pretty little cars, Ulsters, aren't they? Or should I be calling them EA? It's an Austin 7 EA.
Remind me what the acronym is.
I don't know. it's an EA Sports, and that's what it was called originally.
So I think that's Nick Coates, whose car is called an Austin 7EA, which is handy because it reminds us of that that acronym. Waiting to see what Vicky Sly. 69.79. Very good effort. So that's inside 70 seconds for the first time for Vicky Sly. Looks quite promising. That's good effort.
Brian Galbraith on his MGJ2. That's an attractive car too, isn't it? That looks absolutely right.
Yep, super little car. I had a J1 back in the day, and my late godfather had a J4. Very rare beast.
Yeah, well they only built 9 of them.
And his was number 6.
Right. And of course with the VSCC, Jeff Coles had 2 of them.
Jeff Coles, that was his fateful car at Sletterton.
Yeah, absolutely.
6.
Russell.
Yeah, number 2, Nick Coates then, 78.96. Not as quick as before.
And number 11, David Keefe, is the first of the Brooklands Rileys.
Harry Hoskins, meanwhile, a 64.61. 64.61. Now, it's shown as class lead, but he did 64.46 this morning. At least that's what it came up as. Peter Howard, 65.85. An improvement in the Austin 7 Ulster.
And Charles Ping in the only Austin 7 in class 2. And in class 2 because it's supercharged.
Class 2, which is my next sheet of paper. Let's see. Brian Galbraith in 10, the MG, 68.00. 68.00.
Very close to his handicap then.
And that's 7/10 trimmed from the from the first run time. So that's a good effort. Close to the handicap, as John Staveley tells us.
Yes, a J4 was a very special car, wasn't it? I mean, they were basically a race car, very highly tuned, but very small capacity, of course.
Yeah, this one, that particular car we were talking about, its first owner was the son of a camel hair spinning business in Yorkshire.
Right.
And used to have the use of his mother's chauffeur to change plugs after he'd fired it under.
A camel hair spinning business.
Oh yes.
Well, What did you do with camel hair when it had been spun?
Before my time. Made it into coats, probably.
Yes, I remember when researching the V4 Christie Grand Prix car that it used camel hair in the clutch.
Well, that's what you used to spin it with. And I don't know. Who knows? Maybe that's it. Maybe you've answered your own question there.
It was
the clutch lining. So Mike Dowell in number 12, the Riley Brooklands 77.61. Charles Ping in number 14 has set a 67.45. Not as quick as before. For Jonathan Lamb.
And then we're into class 3.
Yeah, my godfather bought it off a car sales lot in South London, somewhere between Streatham and Tulse Hill, I think. Jonathan Lamb in the Riley Brooklands, number 15, 64.12. 64.12, not quite as quick as before. Just lost a few tenths. Start should be runner with the Riley Brooklands. And he's done a 59.93. 59.93, so inside a minute. Well done. Renner, 60.45 this morning. The early run. So the class leader is Nigel Dowding in the Riley Brooklands.
And Colin Pointer coming down to the line in the Lee Francis Ulster.
Nigel Dowding, 53.36. So that's a super time. 53.36. How does that make John? Number 17, Nigel Dowding to the 55.22 this morning, now 53.36.
Well, his handicap was 55, but had the... no, I can't see that the handicapper had... No.
So 55 to 53, that looks pretty handy.
Pretty good
So to speak.
improvement, yeah.
Fullerton, 712, not sure that he was next up. Double-driven car, no, that's already up there, I think, with Mike Dowell. Samik Mukherjee with the Frazer Nash Balam, 66.55. Great improvement. About 1.7 seconds quicker than his first run. Samik Mukherjee is in the car that Tim Crichton finished on the podium in the race, and a good wood among the Bugattis, the wooden effect. We've got 21, Richard Baxter, the Frazer Nash Ulster, 66.15. He's lost 0.05 of a second over his first time.
And was Joe Blakeney was the fastest in class with the first runs?
Well, I think when we saw it again, it came up with her name against it, but I'm pretty certain that was Archie Waterfield, her lad driving in. 50.68 was the best. Richard Baxter, seen his time, who is going to be next. Another gorgeous Nash leads the line.
Well, I think that's Joe driving 27 now.
Yes, I think that'd be right. So we're waiting to see. Pointer has managed. Colin Pointer, 60.39. 60.39. And that is an improvement of 0.07 for the Lee Francis driver. Lightwood, 64.14. That's better. Lost a lot of time in the early run, 77.34. 73, 74, 77 and 64. Massive improvement for Robin Lightwood. Dominic Hall in the 25 car, 53.88. Good improvement. Still 200 outside his Q run. Tony Wood, Frazer Nash Supersports, 55.38.
Yes, not up to his handicap.
And not as quick as before.
No.
54.60 was the first run time for Tony Wood.
And then we have the Blakeney Edwards car, which we think is Joe, but we're not sure.
Joe Blakeney Edwards.
53.29.
Yeah. 53.29. That's a better run. 53.37, 53.18, 53.63, 53.29. That's fantastic. 4 runs within not very much at all. 53.18 to 53.63. So 4 runs within half a second. So this is consistency.
We're back to the class. Sadly, the beam. We don't very often see a beam competing, and the beam has not turned up today.
So the timekeepers cannot be referred to as bean counters because they haven't had to count the bean. Paul Ginnings in 30, Lagonda 1680, 78.03. Improvement.
Yes, and well inside his handicap. And 32, Graham White in the Lee Francis in 64.20.
What is the Paul Ginnings handicap in that Lagonda, John?
Well, the
30.
handicap was 82 seconds.
4 seconds inside then.
Yep.
Here's damn it.
But, wait a minute, let's check with the list. No, he hadn't been re-handicapped.
And in fact, the earlier runs of 88.91, 81.75, 82.74 suggest we didn't see that one coming. 78.03.
No.
Fergus Gunn in number 3, the Austin 7 Ulster. Got that second run in 75.23. Much better time. 88, 81, 89, now 75, but a long way off the quickest cars in that.
And a long way off his handicap.
Yep. Roger Thorpe in 51.
The 3098. Which many people think, of course, is the car around which the VSCC was formed.
Roger Thorpe 71.09. That's a big improvement. 74.09 this morning. 3 seconds off that. So that's for Roger Thorpe in the Vauxhall 3098 Tourer. Eleanor Bergman in 786. Eleanor did 68.87 initially. This time it's a 69. 69.72.
Barbara Larigo coming down to life.
That's Claire Fernell Williams on the run now. A couple of cars cars on the hill. 787. Claire Williams, 62, 69. 62, 69, her best run of the day. So that's a good effort. Class 62, 69 has deposed Clive Bergman by 0.08 of a second. There's Dan, 60.66. Kevin Morton, 61.71. Clive Bergman, 62.77, was third. I think. Yes, I think that's now third currently for Finale Williams, with others still to come.
And a batch.
Jack Butler in 7.03, the Riley Special.
Still pumping about why it's 7:03.
59.96. So let's pick up where Clive Butler is. It's a double-driven car.
He's in class 9.
Class 9, there we go. So Clive Butler, 59.96.
Ah yes, the programme's obviously wrong because the other driver is 103, which is William Butler, and then Jack Butler. Shown in the programme is 701, but 703 correct.
Yes. So I think it's a Clive Butler on our timing. So maybe there's a change there.
Then we're back to the Talbot, the Soul Edwardian.
Yes, in class 7. Have we seen Mark Brett go again? The Balam Special.
No, I don't think so. Unless he snuck by us.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your urgent attention, please? Would the owner of a Land Rover Discovery, registration number OE69 FKL, OE69 F for Freddy KL, please return to the vehicle. There's a dog in that vehicle, and if it's not removed from the premises, then unfortunately the authorities will be called. So the owner of a Land Rover Discovery, it's grey I believe, OE69 FKL, urgently please back to your vehicle and take your pooch home with you, please. One, two other times I think we've seen here. 706 Barbara Larigo, 63.81. 63.81. Just looking for that one. And then 705 Andrew Oliver, 58.86. 58.86. Improvement of more then a second. Barbara Larigo not as quick as before. Jack Butler in 7:03. Wasn't Clive Butler, it was Jack Butler. Misread it somehow. Did a 59.96, which was about 9/10 off first class runs.
Ah, I found the time. It's 15:02.
Ah, there you go. Lurking behind John's water bottle.
I can't get anything else useful on the computer apart from the time, but that's a slight improvement, and it is 15:02. Ah. We seem to have a traffic jam on the bridge here.
Confiture de traffic, as we call them at home.
Someone being impatient. So I wonder if all the 3098s that would normally be competing have gone to Montlhéry, since we've only got the one.
And it's glorious. Quite glorious.
And meanwhile the Talbot's waiting patiently.
Yeah, it's a very nice line. The car's due to come out of the paddock to be led out by number 60 from class 7. Frankham with the Talbot, 75.32, 75.33, 74.81 so far. Quickest on his first time run. I can see the little Audi A1 working its way back down through the wiggle woggles towards the gate, and it'll be back to take its position up at Wiscombe very shortly.
Just looking through the records, there are some long-standing records, and the one most notable is Richard Pilkington, who's held the over 3 litre sports car class record since 1987.
It's not to be threatened today, is it?
I don't think so. 49.28 in the Talbot Largo.
Of course, they're local to Pilkingtons, weren't they? From Totnes down
Yeah, that's right.
in South Devon, millions of miles away.
And of course, we still have a regular competitor.
Yes, Erica Pilkington was entered, wasn't she? But I think it was a non-starter.
But other daughter,
Tanya Pilkington, who races a Grand Prix Cooper.
but she
has done
competes with a 1750 Alpha and turns up very regularly with that. Quite frequently, completely on her own. She turns up and competes and drives away again. That's a proper racing car, isn't it?
Super cool, isn't it? So 60 then, which is Robert Frankham with the Talbot 2550 on the line, to be followed by David Mitchum, first time out in this beautiful Austin 7 Special, called Cedric.
Oh, I'll try not to call it the Cooper and All Special then.
It's a little badge on the steering wheel of a car that was drawn by the renowned artist Stefan Marjoram.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And inspired David Mitchum to build this car. He's come down from Shaftesbury today, or near Shaftesbury. And away goes Robert Frankham, sole starter in Class 7. It's a wonderful looking car.
Yes, well, he's unlikely to worry the previous record holder.
Who is?
It was James Collins in the Hudson Super 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did a 57.04 back in 2012. But of course, Jeremy Glenn with the Curtis LeZebra, he holds the Edwardian aero engine record at 52.86. That is a pretty remarkable time.
David Mitchum then approaching the hairpin and saw bench on the screen. And, 2/3 of the way up the hill now. We've got Frankham, 73.56 in car number 60. Another good improvement.
Ah, well, the track's getting faster then.
Or maybe the combination is getting faster. So David Mitchum chasing his best of 79.31. Broke 80 for the first time this morning. It's his first VSCC hill climb in his car, 10 years in the making. And he's got to the top 79.72. 79.72. Not quite as fast, but only a few tenths in it. Chris Pickering is all going up next. Chris Pickering's time earlier on, 66.16 in 83, that was 7. Ulster rep. Chris Pickering, 65.48. 65.48, good improvement.
And Eleanor Bergman on the line in the Austin 7 Special. And she will be followed by...
Eleanor Bergman's been, so I think this must be Clive Bergman now.
Ah.
Yes, Clive Bergman now, and then we're going to see
Claire.
David Fennell in 87, because Claire's been. They went in the double-driven pairing at the end of the last batch, didn't they? So let's just see. William Hargreaves in 84 in the riding 9, 67.73. Yep, good improvement. 72, 69, 68, 67. Pleased with that. It's the Audi car with the red chassis. So 2 quick Austin 7s on the hill. Graham Beckett meanwhile has reached the top, 61.95. 61.95. Very good improvement from 63.11. We're going to see what Clive Bergman manages, 62.64. Quicker than before. What's that done? That's Claire Fennell Williams by 0.05 of a second. Now, oh, we've got a problem here.
Where's that? Oh, yep. Not supposed to be going backwards.
David Fennell, 61.64. 61.64. Not as quick as before. 60.66 then is David's time. That makes him quickest in the class on 60.66. In the 61s, .71.71 for Kevin Morton. So yet to have his second run. And there's an issue in the front. Yeah.
Oh, did he actually touch something?
Not sure. He's fiddling with the front corner of it.
Yeah, must have done. He's out of the car and
Trudging back down the hill. LJ 4440. And that is Kevin Morton, so unfortunately he's failed. And driver's out of the car fine. He's had a little bit of an incident, but he was trying to improve on 61.71.
And that's Kevin Morton who's had the incident.
He's now just trying to straighten the steering up. And there's the big Land Rover is turned up to tow the car to the top. What this has done, David Fennell currently quickest in the class in 87, the Austin 7, the toy 60.66. Then in the 61s, currently second, Kevin Morton, the car that just had the problem with the Riley, 61.71. Then 61.95, the improvement from Graham Beckett in the Austin 7 Simplicity. And then we've got Clive Bergman, 62.64, and Claire Fennell Williams, 62.69. So really, really close in the chase, but looks like David Fennell about a second clear in the yellow Austin 7. Former Formula Ford racer back in the Jim Russell days. He was telling me this morning, it was, he said, a very long while ago. But he obviously hasn't forgotten how to do it. So he'd raced
years ago, of course,
Jim
when you had the
Russell
Jim
races.
Russell Racing Drivers School at Snetterton.
That's right.
And they used to have specific races only for them.
That's right.
So in the middle of a race meeting, you'd have a race full of pupils from JRDS.
JRDS, exactly, with Norman Greenway on mic, no doubt, and Jim Russell, remarkable character, lovely guy, 3-time Autosport BRSCC National Formula 3 champion, with Coopers in the mid-50s, then had a dreadful accident at Le Mans at Cooper Monaco, and while he was recovering, not only did he marry his nurse, who was sister of Ralph Furman, who went on to found Van Diemen Formula, the Formula Ford Kings, but he then put Mike McKee in his cars, didn't he, while he was recovering, and
because Ralph was at Snetterton as well. His factory was actually there. Over the road at Snetterton.
Still is over the road. He's still working out of there. He started off East Harling or Larling or somewhere, didn't he, nearby?
Yeah.
In a really insalubrious accommodation. Founded that company with Ross Ambrose from Tasmania, which is why it's called Van Diemen, the old name for Tasmania, Van Diemen's Land.
A lot of famous drivers went through there.
One, Ayrton Senna.
Yeah, Ayrton Senna.
30 years since the sport lost him.
Of course, back then at the beginning, he wasn't Ayrton Senna, he was Ayrton de Silva.
Ayrton Senna de Silva, yeah, that's right.
And the Senna part of it was never mentioned. And then suddenly he wanted to be Senna and not de Silva.
Lovely guy. He was really good fun. And for years after his sort of pomp in British national racing, he'd come back to see his buddy Mauricio Gugelmin, who was on his way out. Mauricio from Brasilia, and yeah, he got to Formula One as well.
You mentioned Norman Greenway, and I spent a lot of time in the commentary box with Norman, and he always had this. He loved to have this little joke about, there's 3 Irishmen on the grid. Brendan McInerney.
That's right. Yeah, Brendan McInerney.
No, Norman, he's just one Irishman.
So the Riley is hooked up and will be repatriated to the paddock. It's quite likely that the trailer, if the car has been trailed, and I hope it has, because it's probably slightly, the tracking probably slightly out.
A bit deranged.
Bingled, I think, is the term.
Bingled.
Right. It's been bingled, but not badly. So hopefully it'll be fixed promptly.
That Land Rover thing is quite an impressive vehicle, isn't it?
It's one of those forward control.
Forward
Land Rover
control.
things,
I think it's a military thing, isn't it?
Yeah. In a very anti-camouflage orange, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, you sort of think it's an XAA Land Rover.
So 1 or 2 questions to be resolved in some classes here. 103 waiting patiently in the line to come down. That's William Butler in the Riley Special.
Well, the thing that intrigues me is whether Ian Baxter has repaired, resolved his problems, and will be out and be competitive.
Well, he shot off the start line with great alacrity,
Yeah.
didn't he? But it didn't really go well from there.
Wheel spin and rubber smoke, and then lost, I think it was about 20 seconds, wasn't it? That he lost somewhere.
So I think the tow is about to get underway.
Yep. I can't actually see that screen
Kind
because the
glare.
reflections are on from the windows are in the wrong place.
Clip the spectacles underneath the car.
Yeah. And it's off. It doesn't look too seriously damaged, does it?
Well, fingers crossed, and a little bit of dust being put down to dress, a little spillage of liquid under the car.
We've got some interesting cars parked behind us, haven't we? There's a very attractive looking Bentley, and then a Sunbeam, and then the Peerless, which we talked about before.
Yeah, the Peerless, yeah, which a great friend of my late godfather actually sprinted a Peerless at Brands Hatch in about 1964. I remember going to see it, and I was, I don't know, about 6 or something like that. It was a freezing cold day, it was really grotty. And Dickie Cove, he was called Richard Cove, he had a Peerless, I think it was white.
Peerless that became Warwick, or the other way round?
Warwick, yeah, Warwick GT, kind of, I think that was later. I think there were more Peerlesses than Warwicks.
Yeah.
Some of them, people dropped Rover V8s in, as I recall.
Yeah, well, probably they were heavier than the car on which they were based, and so they probably needed a Rover V8.
It was Triumph based, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Some Triumph running gear in that.
Yeah, Triumph TR engine, weren't they? And then we got a Jaguar, an XK120 Roadster.
Yes, glorious. And I like the motorcycles as well. I wouldn't claim to be knowledgeable on motorcycles. As one of my daughters once said, all Papa knows about motorcycles is they have two wheels, which I thought might be over-egging the pudding. But I love the Douglas down there. That really is glorious. I guess that dates back to the 1920s, doesn't it?
Must do, yeah.
Yeah. Last time I saw a Douglas competing, I think, was probably at Blackbush in a drag race in about 1973. So
amazing the things that used to turn up in drag races, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it was much less serious than it later became, and you could sort of turn up in almost anything and run it.
Run what you brung, as they call it in the States. Did you ever see the drag races at Snetterton?
Oh yes, yeah, and of course that all stopped when a lady in a top fuel, well they were called AA dragsters
Yeah,
back
AA
then,
top fuel fuelers, yeah.
and her braking parachute and her brakes failed, and she went straight off the end of the course across the field and straight across the A11 into the field on the other side of the A11.
Near the Van Diemen factory.
Yeah, well, a bit further down. But then a friend of mine was coming up the A11 the other way, and he thought it was an air crash.
Excuse me a second.
Can you put an announcement out that if this dog is not released within 10 minutes, we are going to force entry? Yeah. Fab. Thank you.
More news on the dog in the car. I think John's some feedback from John's mic at the moment. Yes, the owner of the Land Rover Defender, the great Land Rover Defender, I haven't got the number of it anymore because it was taken away on a piece of paper last time through, but has not returned to get the dog out. If it's not removed from the premises in the next 10 minutes, I'm afraid the authorities will be called, and they'll take a dimmer view of it than the VSCC does, and that won't be pleasant. So entry will be forced and the dog released. So please take your dog home with you. They're not allowed at these events, and just do the decent thing. Thank you.
Yes, the Snetterton, of course, you couldn't run drag racing now because they moved the bridge. And
Right.
they put the bridge up from the start of what was the drag race course.
So where was the course?
Well, of course, the course is what is the straight now?
The back straight,
Yeah.
Bentley straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it came right down to the S's, and they started from down there, went up the hill.
Yep.
The other way, but of course now the bridge to get into the paddock is now across the straight, so you definitely couldn't do that with top fuel dragsters with their propensity for flying over backwards. But I remember we were amazed by it, never having been before, and we went along and just, you couldn't believe the noise and the spectacle.
It is staggering, and if you like, if drag racing even vaguely trips your trigger, not the new stuff, the old drag races. The first weekend in July at Santa Pod, there is the annual Dragstalgia event, which is an absolute feast of 60s and 70s style cars. A buddy of mine does it, and he's now deep in the sixes and over 200 miles an hour in a front-engined rail, and they really go well.
Of course, they've reduced the length of the courses now.
It's 1,000 feet now, isn't it? It's not a quarter of a mile for the
because
top classes.
they were getting so fast, and
right.
they're still doing around 4 seconds and 330 miles an hour,
Something
which is just ridiculous,
staggering.
isn't it?
That's a wonderful spectacle, I have to say. So we're back in action. We obviously had that failure for Kevin Morton.
And we've got William Butler going down to the start, and
Yep. 103. One or two more to run from the previous group. Another of the sevens is away.
yes, the they're on the line now. William Butler's Riley, so Riley 12.4 special, 1500. The 12.4 engine proved to be quite a remarkable thing because it was so easily tunable and robust.
And here is that car. William Butler in 103, about to leave the line. Meanwhile, up towards the S's, Justin Sutton beforehand, which I think was Samuel Archer. It's number 90, which is Samuel Archer in the pale blue. Austin 7. 76.85 was Samuel's time early on. And I think that's red flagged. I think Samuel Archer's hit problems, has slowed on the top straight up towards Martini and was going to get caught by the following car.
Right, that's the Austin 7. So the Riley will get another run.
It will.
Well, we seemed to have been well on time and set for an early finish, but now we seem to be having a few delays.
I think the paper is beginning to run out on the timer. It's not a massive problem because we've got them on the screen as well. We had maybe, yes, we've got Samuel Archer, the 0-0, so he was slowing down. I wonder whether he was flagged for Harry Frazer in 171 because he hasn't got a time, and the following car was also stopped. So we'll see what returns down the hill. It may just be that there was a previous stoppage. All right, 87 and 80. No, 87 for now, he got up. 88 was definitely a fail. That was the Kevin Morton car. Yeah, Samuel Archer was next up. 171, Harry Frazer. That looks like that might have been a fail as well. 103 was flagged. Yes, William Butler. So he'll get a chance to go again. And there is 10. Which one was that? One just reversing out of our camera shot. I think that may well have been the car that was flagged.
Well, the last one was William Butler, wasn't it, in the Riley?
Yes, and I think he's out of shot here. I think he's going to be coming back down.
He simply got flagged.
Oh, there you go. There's two there in the slot, and the other one was the Blue Austin 7, which was 90. Samuel Archer. That returned back. These two are having another go. They were both flagged for the car that had problems before, which was the Morris Keane Special, I think 171, Harry Frazer. So we see two cars come down. The cars down already at the start lane, they've been moved onto the grass so that the pair that were on the hill can turn around and have another shot. Glorious day here at Wiscombe.
Kind of a hazy sunshine when you look at above the direct view. You look up there at the trees, it's like a real summer day.
Yep. I think we've had six warm days this year, haven't we, so far? Yesterday was glorious.
Yeah, well, I was driving down from Norwich, which took 6 hours. So,
but then again, you haven't missed a VSCC event here, and nor are you going to.
no.
The car probably knows its own. Well, mind you've probably been through a few cars in that time, so the car knows its own way down.
Yeah. I can't think back to what car I would have had back then. I had my own car hire business in those days, so it would have been one of my hire cars that wasn't rented out.
Mate of mine used to be in the motor trade, had a great phrase. He said, Mark, he said, the best type of car's a free one.
Yeah. What made my choice as far as a car to use at the weekend was concerned was how much petrol the last customer had left in it.
So we've got the Riley shooting up towards Sawbench hairpin. 80 degrees, interesting camber on the road. It's the 104, which was Sarah Calloway.
And this should be...
Sarah Calloway, 61.65. 61.65, a good improvement. And quicker than her better qualifying effort this morning, which is 61.85. So well done to Sarah Calloway in the Riley 12.4 Special. More Rileys in the ascendant. Next up will be Tamo Voigt in the Riley Special, 58.06. 58.06, another improvement over 58.72 this morning. Michael James was quickest in this class, 49.07, I think. poorly. 105.56, 26.
Just inside his handicap.
Yep, but 55.81 was the first timed run. We're getting to the sharp end of this class. David McRobert, 61.12. It's dropped a couple of seconds.
And now we've got the two who are having reruns.
So yes, we've got Samuel Archer in one of those, and then I think 103, haven't we, which is William Butler.
Yep, and he hasn't yet appeared.
10, I can see 107, I think I can see there. Riley Ulster Imp, is that what it is?
Stopped again.
Stopped again like we did last summer. Some sort of went.
Sort of went.
Okay,
I think it's getting
didn't
hot.
go at all. Yes, it is getting very hot.
Yeah, so what we can't see on the...
There's a car parked up towards Sawbench. It looks... I think it's 727, I think it's Archie Waterfield, who's been going quickly.
Yeah.
But whether it's just simply broken down, I can see the military Land Rover is on its way.
Right, I guess it's broken because there wasn't much ahead of him.
No, that's right. Archie Waterfield, who had cut a 50.68 early on, and on scratch certainly has the class in his pocket.
It's amazing. Everything was going so smoothly, and then all of a sudden things start happening that cause delays.
So mechanical failure I've just heard announced, and looks like a rope has been attached to the, I think that's the Waterfield Nash, certainly a dark coloured Nash.
Well, of course, if it's broken something, he comes from a family who can fettle it.
Oh yes, well, it won't be broken for long.
Not the standard chain problem.
So the car is back on its way, either to the top of the hill or into the cutout. Now it's going to the top. I can just see the Land Rover at the top of my screen, disappearing up the Castle Straight, up towards Martini in the top paddock. I think it was the 103 car, wasn't it, that has been flagged again. which is William Butler in the Riley Special.
So he's not having a lot of luck then, is he?
He's not. Plenty of sighting runs, but they seem to be aborted part way up due to the imperative for safety.
Well, he's back. Red flags have come in. And he's presumably got to come up to the top here and turn round and go back again.
Got to do his compulsory figures before he gets into the free program.
Yeah. So I think on the line that's Samuel Archer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Pale blue, Austin 7. The last runner in class 8. 76.85 was the morning time, although sorry, the first run time 70.71 is best this morning.
And yet the handicapper expected him to be quite a lot faster than that.
Well, if he can break 70, that would be nice. He'd be chuffed with that. .108 and 109 on their way. The quick riding specials, Greg Lerigo in 108. And 109, Michael James, who's a real contender here.
You asked earlier if the handicapper ever went the other way. Well, yes, he did.
Oh.
Because the car which we just discussed was re-handicapped by 7 seconds the other way.
Oh, so what's
He'd gone from 58 to 65.
But it's still not better than 70, so let's have a look how fares. There's the first of the quick righties. 103 has reappeared. That's William Butler. Samuel Archer, 68.89. That's much better.
The original handicap, one might say, at 58 seconds was a bit hard.
It was. But amends have been made. There's a screech, got a little bit out of shape there. That was Michael James going out of Wiz corner. Christopher Downham in 107, meanwhile, 52.38.
Oh, he got absolutely sideways. He's gone off on the grass into the trees there. That was Michael James. I don't think there's any great problem. It's just he's in the greenery.
52.38 for Christopher Downham, which is 10 seconds quicker than this morning. Greg Lerigo, here he comes, just reversing back out of the green sward. And Greg Lerigo 51.97. 51.97, not as quick as before. So Greg Lerigo's 50.98 stands. Michael James 49.07.
Well, that stands now because it's him who went.
And a fail there by the looks of things.
Yeah.
So 49.07 is still the class win on scratch. Michael James has felt there's an aroma of oil or whatever in the air. That's Dr. David Pryke's Morgan down there, isn't it? The Morgan Riley sitting down there, second in the queue to get back to line. 103 is ahead, which is William Butler, who fortunately wasn't en route, because we could have had the third flaggage.
Well, Michael James, I think, came back from the gate and appeared to be rolling backwards.
Yes, drove reversed out and across to a cutout on the other side of the track.
Obviously the clerks have gone up there, but we can't quite see the corner.
Too far away to see. I can see where the car is. And that time that you were talking about earlier on, John, which was just after 3,
is now 12 minutes to 4, and not been much progress.
Yeah, just going to repatriate that that vehicle from up there. Now Michael James is in 2 cars, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh yes, he's in the other one, the Cooper, the Riley Cooper Special, or whatever he calls it.
Cotton Special.
Cotton Special, but I think he was quicker in
49.07 in the car that he's just had the Flymo experience in, and the other one we'll see him in 49.41, 49.07. The car that's on the hill, 49.41, the other one.
Yeah. That's what I thought, that he was quicker in the more standard looking car. It's not that many years ago when you could sit here and you could see all the way up to the gate with no problem. It's just that tree in the middle there that stops you seeing, isn't it? The other ones, the tall
exactly.
ones, are not in the way.
I can just, if I crane my neck, I can see just about the last probably 50 metres to the gate, and I can certainly I saw somebody from the Orange Army disappearing off into the bushes there. It's very out of my sight.
The Orange Army don't have to visit the bushes anymore. They now have their own little cubicles at each.
Little TARDIS.
Yeah.
Fantastic. There's progress for you.
Yeah. Amazing.
120 is in the queue, coming down to towards the start, which is Anthony Norton in the Alvis 1250.
I think they're going to be some suntanned, sunburnt people here.
Here we go. Here's Michael James's Riley. Looks none the worse for its
well, no, I think
excursion.
he only went onto the grass and just brushed the bushes. But he got very sideways before that happened. Sideways the other way, and then when it came back, he went off onto the grass.
That would catch your attention, wouldn't it? Because it's downhill from there quite.
Yes.
The escarpment is quite steep.
Yes. Yeah, well, remember Donald Day in the ERA going deeply into there. Back at the meeting when we had all those ERAs here in the wet. The only dry place was under the shelters they put on here. They had all the ERAs under tents.
I remember a very muddy national here where it just rained and rained and rained, and the grass paddock was obviously treacherous. And the fellow whose car I was sharing said to me, he said, how do you fancy this? And I said, I don't mind. Yeah, rain doesn't worry me. But I'm a bit more concerned that you might not be able to clean the car in time before you go to the next meeting in a couple of weeks. And he said, that's our decision made then. Wheeled it straight back into the trailer.
Done. Well, I remember a meeting here when it rained so badly that people could not leave their cars
this was
on the grass there.
You know, this could be equally that meeting. And I remember coming back about 2 weeks later for another meeting here, and the slope was just completely healed. It was as if nothing had happened.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have take 3 for 103. William Butler.
His Riley's very special now. He gets more runs than anyone else.
Yeah. Ambulance has just gone back into its slot at saw bench, just safely out of the line of travel for the vehicles, the competing vehicles. One of the course cars is just reversing into its position at Wiz Corner, and the Audi A1 follows suit.
Yeah, he's back. So what do you think happened to the thunderstorms that we were promised?
Shh. They're going to get me on the way home.
Oh yeah, be lovely on the M5, wouldn't it? Many years ago, going up the M5, I was passed by a Granada going at high speed, very high speed, and I went round a bend to find the road absolutely awash. Whereas we'd come off dry road onto a downpour, and a Granada going
pirouetting
up the motorway.
I think
And he didn't touch anything, and he ended up stopped facing the wrong way. And as I drew alongside him, he went,
oh, yes, nothing graceful about a pirouetting Granada.
no. Well, we've got a green light on the start line.
Away. Take 3 for William Butler in 103, the Riding Special.
Make no comment.
He's reached the gate and turned through it. Now working his way through. Yes, it's up towards saw bench. Then David Pryke leaves the line in the Morgan Riley. Sounds very raughty. Round saw bench. Castle Straight goes.
Yeah, he's
Butler.
up to the top, one corner to go. He can go, finally made it.
And he goes through Martini up to the top, going quickly behind. Michael James, we saw him fail. William Butler, 56.55. 56.55, not as quick as before. Now David Pryke is pushing.
He might be getting a bit hot.
Yeah, absolutely. Where's David Pryke? He must be close to the top. He's done it. Yep, 49.98. 49.98. 49.56 this morning. But 49.98 is a good effort, and that's going to leave him second behind Michael James's morning run, 49.07, and Greg Lerigo on a 50.98. So he's going to be third in that class. Class 9 now completed.
Anthony Norton's
Elvis.
12.50 Elvis.
60.11.
60.11, yeah.
Lost a little bit of time from this morning, 59.14. Looks like he's going to leave him about 6th in class, something like that.
And Paul Mullins with a squeal of tyres off the line with the MGK Special. Supercharged 1500. And goes very quickly up the straight to the gate.
Then Burnage, meanwhile, Frazer Nash TT Rep 64.40 for 121. Then Burnage 64.40. Not as quick as before.
And in the queue now is Theodore Hunt.
Yep.
In the TT Replica Nash.
Carmen Charge, Roland Woodley 64.99. 400ths slower than earlier on. 65.15, 64.50, 64.95, 64.99. Roland Woodley's 4 runs today. All within 0.65 of a second. Paul Mullins 57.25 in the MG, number 123. 57.25.
And
not as quick as before.
Theodore Hunt is away up to gate.
Yeah, he's charging, isn't he?
Going very quickly.
Which is into through the gate, and he's got the tail all pendulous through the middle. This is fabulous. And he approaches the hairpin. 48.69 he did this morning out of the hairpin. That was nice and tidy.
Very neat, wasn't it? Very
Back on
neat.
the power super quickly. Up to the top to Martini. Uses all the road coming in. Very, very nice line through. And his time. Theodore Hunt, 49.22. 49.22, not quite as quick as before. So maybe the track isn't quite as good. The last few runners a little bit off at morning pace. Chris Tabor, meanwhile, in the Riley Special, for 124, 59.96. 59.96. That lost about just 3.5 seconds. But Theodore Hunt very definitely quickest in this class. Trevor Hurst in the Elvis Firefly. It means that he hasn't gone up. 764 is Harry Leston, one of the double drivers, 53.44. 53.44, I think that's end of batch.
Yeah, end of batch.
53.44 for Harry Leston. And that was about 3/10 off. 307. Looks like it's going to leave him there or thereabouts. 49.41 is the lead time of Michael James and the other Riley. And the 51s we've got.
Well, we're still not in a position to prophesy what the best time will be.
51 to 165. Cameron Evely is still second by the looks of things, and then there's two in the 52s. Simon Calloway, Riley Sprite, 52.67. Quicker than that, Ollie Leston with the Morgan Rip Special. And we've seen Brother Harry go up in. And the next batch has just been called forward.
We've just had a number of those cars already. Class 11.
Yeah, 13 and 14. We've
There is no class 12.
no, 11 is done and dusted.
Yeah.
13 and 14 are the classes we're looking for, I think. Might be one or two stragglers from other classes, but I reckon we've got 13, 14, the 15, 16, 17, 18 group, which is relatively small. They will be en route fairly pronto. Still the best time we've seen, that 48.69 by the looks of things, from Theodore Hunt, with the Frazer Nash T2 rep in the classes that have been resolved. 49.33 Frazer Nash Le Mans rep, which is a class leader as well.
But
that's 800ths quicker than Michael James went in the silver Riley. He's got to take up again.
Theodore Hunt is actually fastest overall at the moment.
Yes, he is. Yes, on the 48.69 in the Frazer Nash GT rep.
And I don't think we guessed that at the beginning of the day.
We didn't, but motor racing is full of surprises.
Yes, I remember at Silverstone, Willie Green in the Inter-Series race when it was in two halves.
The Martini International.
And the first half was in the dry, and the second half it poured with rain, and he was just amazing.
Was he in the yellow Ferrari?
In Ferrari,
Yeah, 512
512.
Yeah.
That's the car. And had it sideways absolutely everywhere, but made up a lap on the cars that had finished a lap ahead of him in the first heat.
That race was often blighted by poor weather, despite the fact it was held in sort of what was arguably early summer. I remember in '71 when it was, I think, very, very wet again, because they had a 4-3 grid then, didn't they? With the likes of Ronnie Peterson and our own aces, the likes of John Burton and co.
Yes, I remember at that race that the fastest speed down the straight was 232 miles an hour.
Sounds incredibly fast.
Yeah,
those turbo Can-Am Porsche things,
Yeah,
91710s. That's right.
Yeah.
The historics celebrating the 30th anniversary of the start of the Can-Am series at Red America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. They were in the hands of just weekend warriors. The quickest of them, I think, was 208 at the end of the main drag.
Yeah.
which is an uphill start to a plateau. It's quite amazing.
There was Clausen and Kellner's in those 917s.
Helmut Kellener's.
Yeah, Helmut Kellner's, yeah.
And the other one was?
Clausen, wasn't it?
Oh, Willy Kausen. Yeah, yeah. Willy Bald himself.
But of course they were claiming that they had sort of 1100 brake horsepower on tap. Which they possibly did.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I think they went past 1300 on their day. I think Jody Scheckter drove Vasek Pollack's in the States, and he said it was like riding a bicycle with a rocket strapped to your back.
Well, he always had something printable to say, didn't he?
He was never short of a quote. I wonder how his cars sold at Monaco.
I don't know. I kind of thought it was slightly strange to be selling the whole collection.
Yeah, a huge lot went there, or again there. Also, that huge lot of JPS Lotuses and supporting paraphernalia from Germany. I think that was on the books as well.
But amazing how the Peter Mullen auction has revitalised the auctions everywhere. You know, prices were dropping, and all of a sudden all those cars were in that auction with no reserve, and many of them made miles over their estimates. I mean, a Type 57 Aravis at 6.6 million.
All depends who's there on the day.
Well,
and who they're trying to impress.
There were obviously a lot of rich people there on the day. A friend of mine was determined to buy the little Type 40 brake de chasse, which was an interesting thing, and he thought he was going to buy it for 100,000, and it made 500,000, which was at least 5 times the estimate.
So, cars coming down to the line for what could well be the penultimate batch.
Trevor Hurst. Trevor Hurst, followed by a Ford-engined Riley Special. Steve Goodhue, that car's been in the club for a lot of years.
Trevor Hurst in 130. Firefly Special. And 3 more to run in this class. The Riley Special. 131. Steve Goodhue with a 3.3 litre Ford engine.
Yep, Model A engine.
Steve Goodhue nearly at sore bench. Trevor Hurst 56.25. 56.25. Good improvement. But that class still with Theodore Hunt by a good margin. 48.69 is opening. Gambit this afternoon.
Well, yeah, he's been the surprise of the day so far, hasn't he?
He certainly has. Goodhue to the top in 65.06. That was a long way off the previous. 6.5 seconds. Bit of wobble somewhere. And he's here standing now on the hill. We've got into class 13.
We've got Neil Thorpe coming down the line with the
In standing.
Spikings.
62.24. Not as quick as before. So that class 48.69 for Theodore Hunt. And then we go right back to 56s, of which we've got Paul Mullins on 56.6. Beaten by Chris Tabor, 56.48. At 56.25, Trevor Hurst is going to be third.
145 James Burmester in the MGPA, which is always a bit surprising. It looks like a racing car that was built as a racing car, rather than a racing car based on a sports car chassis. But supercharged, of course.
Sam Ely in 140, 63.50. Not as quick as his first run. Rick Permain, 58.93. He wasn't as quick either, but he was only 500 shy of his first effort. Peter Aspin in 142. He has just gone up in 58.74. Good improvement. 1.24 seconds quicker than this morning. 58.54. He needs to be somewhere under 54 to be in the top 3 in this class. Neil Thorpe, 60.56 in 144. 60.56 is his best time of the day in this hiking special.
Gary Clare and John Giles next up.
Yeah.
The Granny and Salome.
John Giles has been flying, hasn't he? Yeah. There goes Granny, the ultra wide front suspension. I remember, kind of 1970s. James Burmester in the MGPA, number 145, 56.14. Good improvement on second this morning, but these are the speedy trio: Mark Elder, Gary Clare and John Giles. There goes John Giles in Salome. What a great car.
And been around for a very long while.
Mark Elder, 53.71, 10th exactly outside this morning's effort. He's going to remain third in class by the looks of things. The Austin 7 Sports Special. Gary Clare and Granny. He's trying to improve on 52.64. He's done a 53.64, exactly a second outside the early run, so he's going to remain in second in class, and we've got a red flag somewhere. Car stopped.
Just stopped.
On the exit of Sawbench, and well, Gary Clare got to the top.
Yeah, it's.
The next up was Slevy, wasn't it? That was the next car out.
John Giles.
Yeah, looks like it. Yes, I can now see the car is green, so...
and his pit crew are here.
Yep, so it's being pushed off into the little cutout at Sawbench hairpin. I think I saw a sign of a red flag coming in there.
Broke something, presumably.
Looks like it, and
it just rolled backwards, isn't it, from where it was?
He's the class winner. Yeah. Oh, red flag. No, the red flag's just been waved again. But I wonder if that was indicative of it coming back in. Car was still in the middle of the track, just petered to a halt. John Giles, yes, a fail. Is posted. Only one more runner in this class, and that's India Walker with the Austin 7 special number 149. Michael James is undaunted because he's back in the
other car.
Riley special. I saw an intriguing car the other day, John. I was driving up to London and I saw on the M25 a Ronart W154. I've never seen one on the move before. I've seen one occasionally sort of, on show at an event.
I don't think they made many of them.
No. I wonder why.
Well, aside from anything else, I think they were pretty expensive.
Yep. Certainly exclusive, and yes, with the price tag to match.
You don't seem to see as many exciting cars about on the roads you used to. I remember at the Autosport 3 Hours, I was waiting for my dad to come and pick me up from the circuit, and Mike Parks came out of the old entrance by the garage in the 250 GTO, and he went off down the A11 going up to maximum revs in all the gears, and he must have been doing about 150 mile an hour by the time he got up the hill the other side, going incredible speed.
So the car that was flagged is now back with us. That's I think that's India Walker, isn't it? 149, yes.
Yeah.
India Walker with her Austin 7 special to the 62.26 this morning, following on from a 65.17 and a 63.48 in practice. And India Walker turning around and will be ready to set up again. Lucky they don't do really tight fueling strategies on these cars, isn't it?
So do you think they're in plan B now?
Who knows? Probably adjusting something on the steering wheel. 3 on that one, 2 on the other. Tap the brake pedal twice. So we're, I think, ready to go again. Green is given, I think. The course cars are back this end, certainly.
Well, the green light came on,
Yes, momentarily.
but it's gone out again.
Yeah.
But no red light.
Maybe the car's leapt through stage. Ah, yes, a little bit of
The
TLC for the
timing man's down there with a replacement head unit. There we have it, a new red light.
I think they sent Sarah down to do it actually. I think she sorted it. Right, away we go.
I've kind of lost track of who that is.
Is that Simon Kellaway, perchance? It might well be. Because we're going to have 149 India Walker going again shortly. Away she goes. There's a little crackle exhaust.
We then seem to have a non-competing car about to come.
We've got Ollie Leston coming down towards stage. And India Walker's got a shift on through the S's. And the car to watch for now on the line is Michael James in 163. He's determined to wrest BTD away from Theo Hunt.
I think that'd be rather a shame, actually.
Simon Culloway, 53.71, over a second off the earlier effort. Michael James did 49.41. 49.33 is Theodore Hunt's time in the Frazer Nash, and his time in the Le Mans Rep. 48.69 is BTD in the pre-war Nash. So 48.69 or better. Attempt to destroy a rear tyre at a three-wheel Morgan. India Walker 61.39. 61.39. Good improvement for India.
And what about Michael James?
Waiting for him. His time. There's the RIP special. Michael James, 49.46. Not as quick by 600ths. So he's got the class, but he's missed out on BTD. Ollie Leston going to pop in. So it says 64. It says Harry Leston. He's been 51.16. 51.16. The second of the Lestons to ascend.
printer's no longer printing and I can't actually see the times on the screen.
51.16, that's an improvement for Ollie Leston. 51.16 is going to put him second in class unless Cameron Evely can go better. And that is a replay of Ollie Leston's run. Class 13, John Giles wins 49.32. Second, Gary Clare 52.64. Third, Mark Elder 43.61. By the looks of things, 14. We've seen all the contenders, with the exception potentially of 165.
And we should have the intriguing BSA Wellesley special. You could rock the throttle pedal to increase the power to one or other engine, therefore changing from oversteer to understeer and vice versa.
Too much for a dunce like me to comprehend. I can take something that's conventional up here, but no. Anything out of my comfort zone, no, that never remains so.
I don't think it looks conventional.
It doesn't. So we've got a red, that's the end of the batch, wasn't it?
Yep. So we're on to the... So we've got about 10 cars still to run.
Yes.
And it's 4:30. So we'll be done by 5.
Top 3 as things stand, and we've still got a second run for Theo Hunt in the Frazer Nash Le Mans Rep. Got a second run hopefully for Ian Baxter with the Alta, but the top 3 are the 3 times inside 50 seconds. Theo Hunt in the Frazer Nash GT Rep leads the way on a 48.69. Michael James with the Riley Cotton Special 49.41. And Theo Hunt in the Frazer Nash Le Mans Rep 49.53. So 12 hundredths separate second and third, with Theo Hunt still to go. Let's see. Let's see what the other. Michael James failed on his second run, didn't he, in the other car? He did 49.07 in the Riley 12.4 Sprite.
I understand from that you're not expecting the BSA Wellesley special to surprise us.
I'm going to eat my hat, which handily is back in Bournemouth. But I'll ask for it to be prepared and served up this evening if that happens. But I'm not expecting to make the call. We can put it that way. So yes, so four runs inside 50. Theo Hunt, Michael James, and Theo Hunt, 2 cars each. Of course, the big conundrum remains over the health of the Alta on this lovely warm afternoon in South Devon. We've been treated very nicely by the weather gods.
And the record in Class 15 is still held by Anthony Mayman in R4D in 45.29 seconds, set in 1992.
Oh, there you go.
32 years ago. Well, it's not deranged its engine, or they wouldn't be towing it back, because it would be depositing oil everywhere. So
Well, that's encouraging, if nothing else.
it's probably its chrome wheel and pinion, isn't it?
Does it eat those for breakfast?
Yeah, well, they mostly do, and of course, with chains they can still run, can't they? If it breaks a chain, they can still run. So.
Course car back down.
Here's our favourite.
Ah, yes. That looks monumentally scary. I think abnormally brave is the term they'd have coined in the States anyway.
And a proper sounding Grand Prix car. But we can't hear it over the 2V twins.
Yeah, 2042 cc between them. Little Cooper T56 is coming down. Alan Harrison with the Formula Junior Cooper. Hamish Cameron Evely 52.84. That was the missing run in that class.
Richard Wiseman and the Bugatti is up through gate and into the
284. Hamish Cameron Evely wasn't as quick as before, but looks like remains third in that class behind Michael James, 49.41. Sorry, 46.46. Check that because I'm sure I didn't get the proper time for the for Michael James. He's done 46.46 to be home and dry, but we'll have to have a look. There goes
special.
Yeah, Martin Bell, 68.37 in the Wilson Special. Richard Wiseman in the Bugatti 58.55. Did you get do you have a time for?
It's not.
No, it's not printing at all.
It's I guess it's at the end of the paper.
Yeah.
So it's not printed for
A while.
a while.
Okay, Robin Harcourt Smith, 52.67. Not as quick as before.
So what was the time for Michael James?
I don't know. I'm just trying to check it. If it was 46 something, then that's home and dry, isn't it? Unless the outer comes out and does its stuff. But Alan Harrison and the Cooper 59.58. Not as quick. Here comes Jack Bond with the Martin with the Norton.
So Ian Baxter has not come out.
Looks like he hasn't.
So
No.
he's
So we need to just check with the timekeepers. We've got more cars coming. We've got Simon Taylor coming down with the HWM Stovebolt, which has done more than 50,000 miles on the road over the years. Now away goes Jack Bond. He's got a problem with it jumping out of first gear, he was saying. He's been doing it consistently yesterday and today, but he's doing it for some fun. Jack Bond back to Bolton this evening.
so 210 could be the last car.
Could be. 211's just turned up. That's Matthew Eade. Spike Milligan, 58.71. Not as quick. Jack Bond. That's the Frazer Nash, isn't it? Just turned up. Simon Taylor away.
And that's the HRG. Well, that's not in contention, is it?
No. No. Nonetheless, trying to get a personal best, having improved to 68.29 during the day. What's Simon Taylor done with the, hasn't been here for 20 odd years. Red flag. And
What's that? Simon Taylor.
Simon's just arrived. He's just been indicated to turn around in the slot at Sawbench. So I'm imagining it was the car that went up before, which was Jack Bond, wasn't it?
Austin Norton.
In the Martin Norton, which had that gearbox issue. It's up towards the top of the straight. Simon Taylor's coming back down, and here comes the Martin Norton, just
Coasting back.
driver looking over his shoulder. So he's had problems with that gearbox. It's the car that the late Roy Hunt campaigned with the 500 Owners Association for many a long year, and left it to the club in his will,
Right.
on the basis that it was to remain in the club. So, and Jack Bond was able to, Jack's father was able to buy it. Jack, one of our younger competitors.
Of course, Ettore Bugatti gave a Type 51 to the Bugatti Owners Club at a time when they were no longer competitive, of course, but he gave it to the club, and the obvious problem was who's going to drive it. And eventually they resolved the problem and sold it.
It was no longer their problem, yeah. Simon Taylor with the stove bolt. It's a fabulous car, and say 50,000 miles on the road in 25 years. Doesn't own a trailer, drives it to all the events. He's taken it to Phillip Island in Australia. He's taken it to Laguna Seca. Drive it to Laguna Seca or Australia, but you know what I mean.
No, I kind of guessed not.
Glorious getaway for Theo Hunt. Up into the gateway. Carrying a lot of momentum into the S's. It's gone all joggly again, hasn't it? So you can't tell where he's going.
No, it's slightly strange, isn't it?
There we go. Certainly giving it plenty round saw bench. Up down straight he goes. Come on, over into view. Into gets back on the power, gets nice and tweaky coming out, and his time 55.93, so nowhere near. I think he had a problem in the.
I don't quite understand that.
I think he had a problem in the S's and probably just backed out of it and just thought, well, there you go. It's the time's gone with this run. Quick over the 64 feet. We've got going up behind. He's won the class anyway.
So the stove bolt is going to be the last runner.
Looks like it is.
Yeah, there's no one else coming down.
Sounds beautiful. 5.7 litre small block Chevrolet. Put in the States. Drivers, Sterling Moss. Wednesday. Kirk Douglas. Tom Carstens. And others. Simon Taylor for the last 25 years. Veteran journalist, broadcaster. Tomorrow we'll drive it back to Chiswick. Matthew Weed 6918. Simon Taylor 52.28. 52.28. Not quite as quick as before, but only a couple of tenths away. So a super drive from Simon. He's to be second in the class. Jack Bond in Martin. And say Matthew Ede, there was a time. I think it'll come back into our screen. Let's look at those times. There we go. Oh, up on two wheels through the finish there for that was Matthew Ede, 69.18. Two wheels through Martini.
Did he
and it was properly up at about 30 degrees. Quite something. So there we go. It looks like that completes our Vintage Sports Car Club Hillclimb here at Wiscombe Park for 2024. There'll be some kind of prize giving and recognition in the paddock, which will get confirmed times if you want them. And certainly it's been an entertaining day, John, isn't it? We've had a few stoppages this afternoon, but it ran like clockwork till then.
Yes, surprising how suddenly it changed and we kept getting hold-ups and Nothing serious though. There were no
No, that's right.
serious incidents.
But a big thank you to all our marshals and to the hill directors and hill preparers here at Wiscombe Park for keeping this place in wonderful condition. It's been an enjoyable day of speed eventing. Next up for VSCC for you is
Next that I'm doing is Cadwell.
Cadwell Park. Yeah, that'll be good fun. I think I'm back at Donington in the summer in July, and always enjoy that one. I enjoy Mallory as well. I'm not quite sure what the calendar holds for that point of the year. No, it's about just some instructions for getting out, ladies and gentlemen. There for those who've done the paddock. It's really been a day of two drivers, hasn't it? Theo Hunt and Michael James. Mixed kind of fortunes, but Theo's got a couple of classes. I think Michael James might have snatched that BTD if that 46 is confirmed, but I say I can't confirm it here. We don't have the information on paper. But it was certainly an entertaining climax to our weekend of speed hill climbing here. 500 Owners Association yesterday and the Vintage Sports Car Club today. And say, still time to pop over and chat to the drivers, look at the cars in the paddock. Do take it very carefully on the way home, because we'd like to see you next year. And apart from anything else, or what future Vintage Sports Car Club events during the year. So it's it's a just looking to see in our programs where go to next. Sea Red at Donington Park is on Sunday 7th of July. That's the next I think it's one of the race meetings, isn't it? We've got a Cadwell Park on the 15th of June before that. And Mallory's the end of August, 31st of August, Mallory Park, which will be fun. Speed events here at Wiscombe Park on the 18th of May. That's next weekend. Torbay Motor Club. 19th Wildlife Autosport. 27th and 28th of July is the British Championship, which had a rocky start this year with weather, etc. 7th and 8th of September, 5 clubs. 14th of September, the MG Car Club, and the 15th of September, the Arnold Gimblett Speed Hill Climb. So lots of excitement there, and very different weekends. The Arnold Gimblett Speed Hill Climb is all about motorcycles and sidecars. So they have the hill to themselves. Yeah,
the last round of the British Championship was at Gantlet, which was abandoned due to weather.
Yeah, Northern Ireland, that's been in the championship for a very long time, hasn't it? Championship dates back to 1947. Yes, the Prescott meeting was, and the first few Prescott meetings were rescheduled.
And what everybody had the same problem, basically, was the ground. And of course Shelsley ran a meeting with no spectators because they just couldn't see how they were going to get them in and out of the parking.
But all that hoo-ha at Donington Park with the British Touring Car Championship meeting, wasn't it? Yeah. Anyway, there we go. We've got the last view of the vintage cars and some post-war cars just returning to the paddock. The beautiful Formula Junior Cooper Type 56, number 190, that's Alan Harrison. You've got the Grand Prix Connaught of Spike Milligan, who now lives down this way, having lived in Chichester near Goodwood for quite a long time. And the Stove Bolt as well, the HWM Stove Bolt Special, Simon Taylor, ever immaculate.
No, it appears that the Martin is running again.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think he's had 1 or 2 little issues with it, but good to see that it's back under its own steam. And what's the time now, John? It's still kind of relatively early in the afternoon, isn't it? Not even 5 o'clock.
Not 5 o'clock, yeah.
And we're done. So well done, everybody, for getting through. Do come over and greet the drivers in the paddock at the end of the day if you wish to come and see the prize giving.
We should thank the office staff who've done a sterling job without really anyone noticing. Which is
seamless. That's what
how
it is.
it normally is. Yes, it's seamless. Well done to them.
That's how
And
you judge a good event.
Thank you to all the marshals and all the competitors as well who've entertained us.
Indeed, John. Thank you for your company, and have a safe trip back to the Wild East.
Well, actually, I'm now going to Prescott tomorrow, so
So you'll break your journey.
I will go there before I go home.
Splendid. Well, we'll see you at one of those later in the year, I very much hope. And from me, Marcus Pye, good night. And from you, John, good night.
Motorsport UK TV, the home of unmissable British motorsport video. Bringing you all the action from the British Championships. Taking you behind the scenes. Giving you top tips to succeed in every discipline. Showcasing the best equipment. And much, much more. Visit motorsportuk.tv today and make sure you never miss a moment.